We have some traditions in the church that do strike modern people as a little strange. We have a certain dress code, not just for women, but for men also. We have things that we are expected to wear, not to wear, and so on. Perhaps it's a little more visible for the women because headscarves are not so common in modern society. A few generations ago they were very common, and this was not nearly so strange to people. And similarly with skirts, dresses rather than trousers. A generation or two ago this would have been totally normal, but it's different now, and so it strikes people as odd. But I think we also have to say there are dress codes for everyone in the church, including clergy. I don't dress like this because I choose to. I didn't decide that I wanted to wear this particular style of hat or this particular several layers of black garments. We do these things because they're prescribed for us. It's precisely because we're told to do it, because we're said, do this and good will come of it, for you and for other people. That is the spiritual sacrifice that we're asked to make by the church. If we just decide to do what we want to do, if I decide I want to be a priest or a bishop, but I want to just wear whatever I feel like wearing, I don't want to wear all this old-fashioned stuff. Okay, my freedom is being exercised, but I lose the spiritual significance that comes to the humility that is born in us by saying, I don't have that choice. I will do what every other priest does. I will wear what every other monk wears. I will dress like every other Orthodox Christian dresses. This is not to remove what is beautiful about our individuality. Quite the opposite. We live in a world where we think that as long as we make our own choices about everything, clothes, makeup, music, books, food, lifestyle, then I'm free. Right? My freedom means I can make any choice that I want about anything at any time. The church is always teaching us that that's not real freedom. That's just an enslavement to my selfishness. Because the things that I want to wear, why do I want to wear them? Because society has made me like this and not like that. Because the groups I belong to, friends, colleagues, they say this is popular and that is not popular. And so I decide for myself how I want to look in order to make my kind of impression on the world. And the church is saying to us, this is ultimately a kind of selfishness, defining reality by my desires. And the church says that kind of freedom always leads to unhappiness. Because you think you're being free, you think you're liberated, and yet you end up a slave to the trends of the moment. You end up a slave to what other people want of you, what you want of yourself. And look how the world in our generation has become obsessed with this kind of personal freedom. And yet it is a generation with more depression, more suicide, more anxiety than any generation before, in every culture. And there's a connection between these. When we think we're going to find our happiness in following our own will in everything, it makes us happy for a moment. No one is telling me what to do. But ultimately, it leads to the fact that I'm creating a little isolated world of my own. No one is telling me what to do because I'm all alone in my little world. In the church, we are a community. And the community follows the guidance of the apostles, follows the guidance of our forefathers and foremothers, to lead us not into that kind of happiness, but a deeper joy that comes from saying, I don't have to live for myself. I want to live for God. I want to live for my brothers and sisters. And part of finding the real freedom to do that is overcoming my selfishness, overcoming my individuality. And what we discover is when we submit to these things willingly, the beauty of real individuality comes out. God makes every person unique. But the kind of freedom that we tend to exercise is a freedom that doesn't make us unique. It makes us into clones of whoever we think we ought to copy. Real freedom, real individuality is something different. So we submit ourselves to these external things, how we dress, how we eat, how we pray. All of these are given to us. We don't invent them. And yes, at times they are difficult for everyone. That's natural. A sacrifice has to be something that you struggle with. But ultimately they lead us to a life of community, a life of selflessness, a life of humility that allows us to find real freedom and real joy.
Vamos